Hello, YouTube family. Greg D, aka the Dcuo Gingerbread Man, back here with another video. And today, because you guys had requested on my channel, on my post that I made about doing some new loadout videos, you guys wanted to see ice first, so we're bringing it to you. So today, what I'm going to bring you is my take on an ice might DPS supercharged spam type loadout. Before we get into it, though, I'm just going to forewarn you, as I always do, I'm not saying that this loadout is meta. I'm not saying that it's OP. I'm not saying that you're always going to be top DPS if you use this. This is just what I'm experimenting with. This is what I've come up with. I've used it. It's done some really good damage, in my opinion. However, like I always tell you guys, try it out for yourself. If you like it, use it. If you don't like it, don't use it. I'm always open to suggestions, but again, this is my take on like an ice might supercharged spammy type loadout. So, now that that's all out of the way, what we're going to do here, again, we are focusing just on might. So, first thing we will do is we will show you, whoops, if I can get there, we'll show you our skill points. So, in the iconics, I mean, obviously you want to have your super speed, whatever that is. We're currently sitting on 503 skill points. I have Neo Venom Boost, which you can use in your Ice Elemental tray, which you'll see here in shortly. I have Spore Pod. I have Brine Hulk, even though I'm not using it. I have Starbolt, which I am also not using. I know, surprise, surprise. I've tested Starbolt out pretty extensively. I know that there's a ton of people that love it. There's a ton of people that love using it for their supercharged builds. Personally, I'm not one of them. I just don't like how slow the power is. Now, I'm not saying by any means that you shouldn't use Starbolt. If you like it and you like the bonus supercharge that it gives you, by all means use it. Personally, though, just not my thing, so I'm not using it in this loadout. And then, also we should show you here. Wait, hold on. I should show you too, because we are might, super powered, critical attack chance, critical attack damage. Everything else in might. Now I have some extra skill points here, so I just put them into health to be a little bit more tanky. You don't necessarily have to do that either. You can throw those into precision if you'd like. You can throw those into dominance. You can throw them into, I mean, wherever, you know, whatever. Depending on, you know, what you want to do, basically. And then, as far as the loadout is concerned, so basically, I have my own way of setting this up. You might do it differently than I do, but basically, we start with Impaling Ice, which is not only our power interaction, but it's also a supercharged generator. Snowball is going to be our spam, because as you can see there, our cooldown is half a second. So this is what we're going to spam to get Omega charged up and the supercharge charged up as well. Using Cold Snap, Spore Pod. I love Spore Pod. Spore Pod is amazing. If you don't have Spore Pod, if you don't have Starbolt, one thing you could do that I've tested here a little bit is you could throw Bitter Winds in here. I mean, it just depends on what you want. You can throw Snow Devil in here if you'd like, but and that's only if you don't have Spore Pod, you don't have Starbolt. If you want to use Starbolt, you could definitely take Cold Snap out of here and then have Spore Pod, Starbolt, you know, that kind of thing. So we're using Omega, of course, and then we're using Ice Elemental, which is our supercharge, which is turns us into the big ice monster. But we get buffs, increasing damage output. Also, using Ice Elemental gets you an extra loadout tray. So with the loadout tray, I kind of switched it up a little bit. It's kind of the same thing, but not really. I just wanted to switch it up so it wasn't the exact same thing. But again, I'm not saying that this is like OP, meta, whatever. But with this, I have Wintry Tempest for the power interaction again, Snowball, Bitter Winds. So again, we're just trying different things here a little bit. Spore Pod, Omega, and then I'm using Blizzard as this supercharge here. but we'll show you that. So what I'm using for my artifacts, in this case, I'm using Eye of Gemini, Sinestro's Ring, Trans card, Scrap, because again, it is a supercharge, spammy type build here, Omega. If you have Might, definitely want Omega in there somewhere. Sinestro's Ring is also awesome if you are a Might DPS. But again, if you're not focusing on like supercharge or spam, like a supercharge spam type build, I mean, you could technically take Eye of Gemini out of here. You could take Scrap out of here. I don't really have too many level 200 artifacts. I mean, I tested this build with Quizlet. It didn't do as well. I tested it with Strat. So what I will say is taking out Eye of Gemini, taking out Scrap, or I should say taking out Scrap. Strategist card did better overall base damage-wise than Quizlet did. Tantu Totem actually did better than Strategist card. So just something to keep in mind depending on what artifacts you have. Depending on what artifacts you do have, you could throw Candle in here, you could throw Ebon in here. So, I mean, again, it just depends on what you have, what's leveled up. This is currently what I do have leveled up. Again, this is a focus, a supercharged focus, so you know, it is what it is. Also, even though I don't have it, well, we'll get to that in a second. Want to make sure that you have your ultimate supercharge mod there. Grants 15% supercharge back to you when you do use the supercharge. And then you'll get a little bit of supercharge back using Live Gemini itself. No, actually you don't. I'm sorry. That's for tank and healer roll. My bad. My bad. That's not what I mean. I'm looking at the tank and healer part of it, not the damage part of it. So in damage roll, you just you get Pollux' Gaze. Expires, you damage all nearby enemies for 8, 16, 30% of all damage dealt. For supercharge, blah, 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 blah. All right, so then again, we're just using Sinestro, Trans, Scrap, Omega. Allies-wise, now I don't have Flash, but if you would want to use Flash, would be a good idea if you want the extra supercharge. Like if you wanted to totally max out your supercharge generation, definitely have Flash in there. Currently, I don't have Flash, so I'm using Shazam in the first support ability role for the buff. I'm using Constantine for the overall, might precision buff. And then I'm using Emperor Aquaman for my trinket pets. Again, these aren't, as you can see, they're not totally maxed out. So once you do have these maxed out, you could definitely see more. More of a buff. Also, you could use Seaside Restart. I just realized this myself. Using a supercharge ability reduces the combat allies cooldown relative to the supercharge. So, if you did want to relate the cooldown, I prefer using Aquaman for the trinket pets myself. But, that's totally up to you. But yeah, so without further ado, let's kind of get into it. So, basically what I'll do is we'll go through like the base without like a trinket buff or the trinket pets, Constantine. We'll show you where it's at, and then once we get the the supercharge set up there, we'll do that, and then we'll do it with all the trinkets here. So I'm gonna stop talking now, and we're literally just gonna go through here, and we're gonna do it. And like I said, we're gonna use Snowball basically to level up our Omega. And then in that case, we'll be able to pretty much level, or I should say max out Omega. Now, where the real damage potential will be is once we get up to the Ice Elemental part of things here. So without anything crazy, I mean, we're doing, 13.5 damage here. I mean, not great right now, obviously, as long as I get the loadout set up here. So, I mean, not we're in that 13 to 14 million range. Nothing too crazy as of yet, but you'll see once you hit the ice elemental though, that's where the damage really comes in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the ice elemental, and then we're going to go bibbity, 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 and with Omega. So there you see 24 million. That's without the trinket pet, the buffs, the Constantine buff, nothing. 24, almost 25 million. That's where you're going to see the huge, like, upside to this loadout. And even coming out of it, I mean, you're still 18 million. Now, obviously, that's going to go way down once you kind of go back to your normal form, but so, I mean, you're gonna see anywhere from 13 to 15 million just doing it this way, right? That's without any buffs. Like I said, no trinket pets, nothing like that. So there was a 16 million there. So, okay, 13 to 16 million. All right, so now what we'll do is we will buff ourselves. We'll pop, we'll pop, we'll pop, we'll pop Constantine, we'll pop everything here. I'm going to wait to get Omega up before we do anything. So I'm going to pop, then I'm going to pop. $26 million there, so I mean, that's why I'm saying. Then you can use the supercharge, right? Then you get Eye of Gemini again. Now you've got literally everything rolling. 18 million there. 23 million. So, I mean, you're, as you can see, once you have everything rolling, you're 23 to 26. In previous testing, I actually hit 30. So, I mean, it's awesome. This hits so hard. I mean, and this is the most damage that I've ever personally done. So, I mean, I'm not saying, again, that this is OP or meta by any means, but from where I've been, this shit hits hard, and it does. And as you can see there too, you're able to hit the supercharge pretty frequently, actually, which is quite nice. But again, you're just spamming Snowball just so that you can get your Omega up, your supercharge up. But the fact that I'm hitting, 23 to 26 million with the extra, ice elemental buff is huge. So overall, I think this is a lot of fun. Overall, I think this is pretty damn good. Let's pop that. We'll pop this. Whoops, I didn't mean to pop the supply drop there, but and I hit Omega too early there, but. But in ideal conditions, I mean, you can easily hit this pretty well. Now, one thing I have noticed in testing this loadout is with your Ice Elemental, don't pop it all the time. And what I did is I talked to and tried this out with our buddy Dark Horse. Shout out to Dark Horse. Go subscribe. What we were thinking is only use Ice Elemental for boss fights. Because we noticed we were doing the Harley versus Apocalypse raid, and during going through the hallways, defeating the ads, as I was doing the Ice Elemental, it was really slowing me down. So if you are in a raid with a group, you really slow yourself down to where you're going to lose damage because you're trying to keep up. When you're in that ice monster form, you're not moving very fast. So you're going to lose momentum, you're going to lose damage there. So I would suggest just using it for the boss fights. But this loadout so far has been a ton of fun. Does some really good damage in Ice Elemental form. Like I said, the most that I've ever seen for myself personally, which is something, pretty crazy, I will say. Like I said, I hit 30. I was testing this a little bit last night. and I hit 30 million damage. Once you're in Ice Elemental, if you hit Ice Elemental, you hit Omega. I mean, you can definitely hit a ton of damage. So, with that being said, guys, I'm going to conclude this video right here. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. You guys know that I'm always open to suggestions. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more. And until next time, guys, we'll see you soon.